Hi, good morning, everybody. We will wait some seconds or minutes because people is joining. So as you know, we are here today to arrange our last webinar regarding the second call for Twinnings that we have open within under Procure4Health community until the 5th of December. So this is our more practical session where we will be addressing all the questions, thoughts, and main concerns you may have when you are writing and preparing your proposal. So the main objective today is to support you on the preparation for so you can finalize and conclude your proposal properly. So first of all, we will have, so we are the Procure4Health team, as you know, Carlos Larrañeta, the project coordinator, Magnus from Innovation SCOM, that is leading this call for Twinnings, these funding opportunities and the Procure4Health project, and Ali Faki from Healthcare Without Harm, that is the main responsible of the Procure4Health community platform. And my name is Maria Bernabé, so I work at Biomed, and we are one of the supporting organizations of this project and the communication leader. So first of all, I want to give the floor to Magnus. So he will be introducing briefly the program, the Call for Twinnings program, and the main requirements. So you need to know to present and to submit your proposal. Then we will move to the Q&A session. So it's the main point of today's agenda. So we will try to solve all the questions you have. So it's important that you send and you type in the Q&A box. So in the bottom of the screen, you can see the Q&A box with the question and answer. So you have to type them, the question you may have during the webinar. And then after Magnus' presentation, we will move to this part of the webinar and we will be answering and replying to all the questions that you send through this Q&A box. So I think that we can start. So Magnus, the floor is yours. You can share your screen.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Maria. I guess you can see my screen right now?
Yes. Perfect.
Yes. So my name is Magnus Wallengren. I work for an organization called Innovation Skåne in Sweden. And in the Procure4Health consortium, we are the ones administering these Twinnings work package and the capacity building that is supposed to take place within it. As Maria mentioned, this webinar is the last one in the series of webinars that we have held about the launch of this second call for external Twinnings. And we have been through a lot of introductions of the call for Twinnings, what they are about and what their purposes are. So for this webinar, our intentions are that we want to have a pretty much hands-on approach. I will do a brief introduction still, and then we will open up the floor for any questions and answers that you might have from the audience. But to cover some of the basics of the external Twinnings, and hopefully this also answers some of the questions that have been received to us. I would say that the main pillars of the external Twinnings would be that they are the general purposes are that they are about knowledge exchange and capacity building between organizations, typically public procurers in health and care. So meaning that these Twinnings are proposed in partnerships, and when you develop and submit your application, you can request for funding up to 30,000 euros for each twinning for the Twinnings proposal for these joint activities. As I'm sure you know, in Procure4Health, we support the capacity building and the implementation of more innovation procurement in general. And if we consider what happens in the innovation procurement process, it goes all the way from exploring an unmet need, what is available on the market, into how we can procure and implement innovative solutions that address that need. And during this process, there are a lot of questions that needs to be answered to have an efficient and appropriate process running, such as a clear and full understanding of what the actual unmet need is, what is currently available on the market addressing that need, how can we, for instance, engage and interact safely with the industry about our need and the products that are available, and if and when we get to a procurement proceeding, how do we compare and procure innovative solutions addressing that need. For our Twinnings, there are a lot of things happening during this journey, and in our Twinnings, we aim to support any specific part of this journey or a broader progress over the journey as a whole. So there's a lot of flexibility. What this means that there are a lot of preparations and activities that need to be done during that journey, and this is what we support in our external Twinnings. They can be, for instance, the implementation of shared workshops for capacity, for knowledge exchange between partners. You can have study visits or travels between partners to get to know their internal processes better. You can perform market analysis around specific unmet needs that you might have or share with your Twinnings partner, or other costs for external consulting and services, which applies to your own innovation procurement capacity building, and more. So I think what we really stress here is the flexibility of what can be supported, as long as it points to the general purposes of what we intend to do in innovation procurement in the project. I want to cover briefly the type of documentation that is supposed to be submitted as part of your proposals. As perhaps all of you in this room know by now, there are 3 different forms that need to be filled. There is one administrative form for ensuring eligibility. There is one technical form for describing your Twinnings approach and the activities that you intend to perform, and a financial form corresponding to those activities that you want to implement during the Twinnings. And I would believe that when you develop your proposal, the most time you would spend would probably be in the technical form, where you describe the contents of what you intend to do. And as for those of you who have opened these forms, you will know by now that the technical form itself is made up of 3 different sections. One section for describing the excellence of the proposed twinning, another section for describing the expected impacts of the proposed twinning, and the 3rd section for describing the implementation or the work plan of the Twinnings partnership in the proposal. We will not go more into detail right now about this template, but certainly if you have questions about the template, as for anything else about the purposes or the contents of the Twinnings, we'll open up the floor shortly to these questions. I'm also adding a few tips that's been prepared and presented in previous webinars that can provide a good basic understanding of what you need to focus on when developing these forms. I think that many of these tips are quite self-explanatory, but nevertheless, we feel that these tips make up the basics of writing a good proposal. So it's always good to start with the basics. Number 1, have a look at the templates. make sure that you answer every question of all free templates when it comes to eligibility, when it comes to the technical sections, the descriptions of your Twinnings and what you intend to do. This also relates to the second tip about reading and understanding the explanation of each let's say requirement of the technical template, so that you have a understanding of what we're looking for in your answer. It doesn't need to be very long, but at least but rather it needs to be succinct and to the point, to really point to the core of what we're looking for. And thirdly, let's also not forget the overall structure of what you're presenting, so that you don't need to dig in too much into the details, but rather also make sure that it makes up to a comprehensible whole that is easy for evaluators to understand what you're proposing when they score your evaluations. So this has been a very brief introduction of the previous webinars and the approach that we're taking for these Twinnings. What we want to do now is we are starting to open up the floor to you as a participants, to your questions that you might have. Obviously, we're going to try to answer them right now in the meeting. If they are a little bit more, if they are more tricky, we might need to take them home, discuss, and then provide you with an answer. Hopefully that's okay.
Thank you, Magnus. Thank you very much for this insightful presentation regarding the program. Just to, before going through the Q&A session, I just want to remind that I just sent through the chat the link to the Procure4Health community. So I suppose that almost all of you know that you have to submit the proposal through the Procure4Health community platform, but just in case, I just sent the link so you can register and you can ensure that you are part of the community, so you can submit the proposal through our platform, so our Procure4Health community platform. If you have any doubts or any trouble to access, just let us know, please. Okay, so now we just received a question from Maria Casado about the technical form. I wonder if the length mentioned in the specific instruction, 8 pages, refer to the total form or for each of the 3 sections separately. Magnus, you are mute now. Magnus, you are mute.
Here we go. Yeah, sorry. I started to share my screen, and what you're looking at now is the template for the technical form, and I think this is the question that Maria refers to. The page limits of the contents of the technical form, and it's as it says in the instructions, there is very well a maximum page limit of 8 pages, and it refers to sections, to content that you provide in sections 1, 2, and 3. That's where the 8-page limit applies. So not to the full document. I mean, the full document is also going to include the table of contents and the executive summary, but the maximum 8 pages only applies to sections 1, 2, 3.
Okay, thank you, Magnus. So I hope that now it's that Maria has the answer. Okay, so we have another one from Samira. I have a question about the eligibility of partners. Can a partner come from outside the European Union?
I think this was from a conversation that we had over emails, but from Samira, and if I understand the context correctly, Samira, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you have some kind of consultancy or service that you would like to purchase different services from outside of the European Union. if that's correct. They cannot be partners of the Twinnings. They would not be eligible, but only public procurers in health and care are eligible as partners. However, as stated in the introduction here as well, that activities or services that you need to buy to improve the capacity in innovation procurement, that's certainly what the Twinnings are for, actually. So we expect these types of purchases from different types of consultancy services that can add to your innovation procurement capacity, and these different service providers, there is no real eligibility when it comes to them.
Okay, thank you, Magnus. So just to point out that if somebody wants to ask me for open the microphone, you just have to raise your hand and I will give you the floor. I can open and I can allow you to talk. We have another question from Enrico. Can the twinning be between two hospitals, or they need to be two different kind of institutions?
They do not need to be different kinds of institutions, and it can certainly be between two hospitals.
Okay, so at the end, two healthcare providers. So
yes.
Okay, so we have not received any further questions so far. So maybe we can, meanwhile, Magnus, we have another one. Can the twinning be between two universities?
Normally universities would not be healthcare providers, and so I would say typically no. There are certainly university hospitals, but that's another thing.
Yeah, perhaps they have a public procurement offices at the university, but they are not health providers.
No.
Per se, yeah. Okay. So maybe we can show some main question we have already prepared, Magnus. So the main ones we have been receiving from potential applicants.
Yes, so I think what's already being submitted here in the Q&A box is quite typical of the type of questions that we are receiving during this period. Namely, is my organization eligible? A quite obvious question to ask for these Twinnings. I would say that just as we are referring to now, basically that to understand this better, you need to have a good look into the eligibility criteria in the call documentation, and that the eligibility criteria typically points to that only public procurers within health and care, meaning healthcare providers, are eligible for funding. And we have another question which is also related to that one. Some organizations in the United Kingdom have submitted interest and wondering whether they would be eligible, since there has been developments in the negotiations about the Horizon inclusion in Horizon framework. But still, the short answer would be that no, UK organizations are not eligible for these Twinnings. And the reason, this is something that we have checked with the European Commission, and the reason being that although UK eligibility has been negotiated from 2024, Procure4Health was awarded funding in the previous work program, meaning that UK organizations would not be eligible for this type of funding. We have another one about what type of activities that can be typically supported in these Twinnings. The short answer would be that any activity that can realistically and relevantly points to improving your own organization's or your partnering organization's capacity in innovation procurement. So as you can tell, this is quite flexible. To have a more detailed description, you can have a look at the call documentations for a more thorough list of suggested topics and activities, which points back actually to the process, the journey, so to speak, that we presented before. Typical activities in each step during this process of procuring and implementing an innovative product. So we would refer to the call documentation for that. Another typical question would be, how do we identify partners in our proposal? Not meaning how do we find new partners through the matchmaking, but more how do we identify them in our proposal using the forms that are available. And what we're saying is that all partners need to be identified. There is an identification form that is recommended to be used as part of the admin criteria. The reason behind this is that all partnering organizations need to be confirmed as eligible to receive the funding. And about, I think, the final question that we are hearing, that we are receiving a few numbers of, is what is the minimum maximum duration of the Twinnings partnership? And we are saying that there is no suggested minimum duration, but we have a recommended maximum duration of 6 months. And if we look back at the first call for Twinnings, this has meant that most Twinnings proposals have aimed for a 6-month period, which is the recommended maximum by us.
Okay, Magnus, thank you very
Yes.
much. So I I think that they summarize very well the question, the main concern that we have been getting from potential applicants since we launched this second call for Twinnings. So I hope that now it's more clear for everybody. If not, again, just contact us. We can type our personal emails in the chat before closing the session, so you can address us directly. So we have another question from Enrico. So for the admin part, I understand that the section 4, Declaration of Honor or Compliance Criteria, is to be signed by the PA and not by the legal entity.
Mm.
What?
No, the Declaration of Honor is supposed to be signed by any representative, which is either the legal representative of the organization submitting the proposal, or a person that has been allocated the right, the permissions to sign this form. So it doesn't need to be the principal investigator. This is not a research thing that we're doing here, and doesn't need to be the overall head of office of the organizations, which can also sometimes be tough to do. But a person that has allocated permission to sign these types of form for the organization or for the unit that is submitting the proposal.
Okay. And the second one, is the payment in advance? From
no, this question I think relates to reporting. Obviously, we have some reporting requirements when it comes to the implementation of these Twinnings. Awarded Twinnings are expected to provide a midterm report and a full term report by the end of the period. And once the full term report has been approved, this is when the payment will also be transferred from the project.
Okay, so it's answering. Okay, we'll have any further questions so far. So I don't know if somebody else wants to type other question. Yes, we have another one from Samira. Can you specify the requirements in terms of ethics and security? So from the technical part of the proposal.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to specify them in detail, but it is part of I would say that it is part of the admin form. The exclusion criteria. Let's see. The exclusion criteria, the compliance criteria, and the declaration of honor points to the ethics responsibility of the implementation of the Twinnings. So these are templates or questions that is very often typically being used in European projects when it comes to the implementation and responsibilities, and in public procurements in the member states as well. So if you've been in touch with those processes, you will probably recognize the types of confirmations that is being requested as well.
Okay, thank you, Manu. Okay, so anything else that we can address, or we can support you in anything else? So yeah, it's type in the Q&A box. So we can, Magnus, can you please type your email address in the chat, so
yes, absolutely,
everybody can contact you directly in case you have they have any question. I will put mine as well.
here we go. So feel free to contact us anytime up until the deadline of the call for Twinnings with any type of questions. I think that we are seeing that there are both new and experienced potential candidates for the Twinnings. So we are really receiving all kinds of questions, meaning that there are no stupid questions in a way, but everything that can and will be supported by us to have a better understanding.
Yes, to remind that the deadline is the next Tuesday, so 5th December. So you have almost 1 week to finalize your proposal. We will send you this webinar recording after the session, and also the links to the web page and the webinar we arrange since we launched the call. So you have everything in our Procure4Health web page, and then you have all the information as well in the community platform, so you can download the documentation kit through the Procure4Health website, as well as through the community platform. So in both sides you have everything. So, but it's key that you keep in mind that you have to submit the documentation by the community platform. So the platform is the channel, so we will be receiving the proposal, so not the web page. So the web page is just to inform you and to offer you all the documentation. So we have another question from Enrico. Does the feasibility of dissemination and scaling up have a maximum of month 2, like the twin, or not?
I think that this relates a little bit to section 2 of the technical form, meaning the expected impacts of the twinning, and obviously expected impacts can be long after the Twinnings partnerships have formally concluded. I mean, impacts can be a number of long time after the actual actions. So this, let me just read it again. I mean, certainly you can describe this. You would describe dissemination activities during the Twinnings period, but these can also happen after to really build upon the activities and the results that you have done in the Twinnings.
Okay, so it's referred to the period, if I understood well, the period to disseminate and scale up the activities.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I don't know if Carlos or Ali wants to add something else regarding I think that it's clear. So in terms of the platform, the community. So if you want Sally to add something, or Carlos, you want to mention or to point out anything
from my side, just to encourage potential applicants to submit their applications, just to say that there is a good opportunity, a good chance to engage into these activities. We have a sufficient amount of funds in order to fund many of these activities. We have a lot of interest, and it is within the core of Procure4Health to disseminate as maximum as possible the implementation of procurement of innovation, the procurement of innovation instrument among our organizations. We really believe that the more procurers that are using this tool, the best will work. So that's the main objective behind all this that we're doing. We want to make procurement of innovation as a mass production tool in order to uptake innovation in our health and care systems. So just once again, encourage people to participate, and this is a very good opportunity to also engage in the rest of Procure4Health activities. So once again.
Thank you, Carlos. Ali.
Yeah, I just want to add that my email also has been sent in case you face any technical difficulties during submitting, viewing, downloading, or anything related to the technicalities of the application. Please do not hesitate to reach out, and I will be directly helping you in order to make sure that you submit properly and everything goes very smooth.
Great, thank you very much, Ali. So everybody knows now that we are here to support you in everything you need, or the main concern you may have. So this is our last session before the deadline of the second call for training. So I hope that this has been helpful, useful, and insightful for you. So this was the main objective, to support you on the to finalize your proposal as best as possible. So just to give just to say good luck to all of you, and we will be waiting for your proposal, so by the 5th of December. So if you have any question, just contact us directly through our email address. So you have all the emails in the chat. You will receive the recording and the presentation again after the meeting, after the session. So feel free to contact us, and good luck to everybody. So thank you very much, all of you today. So see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.